Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games. I am Chris, and I'm back with another Bloomburrow opening. This one is a Commander deck, Animated Army. This one includes a sample booster pack, including 3 legendary traditional foils in the deck. And what does this deck do? It is Animated Army, make trash, do smash. It includes a Commander, Bloomburrow Bard of the Brambles, which we'll go into in just a second. Let's go ahead and open her up. This one's a red and green deck, Animated Army. Let's go. So pull tab there. So what's inside the box? Well, first thing is this black envelope with a cardboard box, which I always take and recycle those. The sample pack, which we'll get into in just a few minutes. Nothing else in there. Garbage. Inside here, it's a little cardboard thing that has little punch outs. They're all single-sided. You know, flying, planeswalker, shield, +1/+1 counters. That's it. That goes pretty much in recycling. The deck and also a fold-out. The fold-out itself. Well, let's see. The bottom of the box is take them out with the trash. That goes right in the recycle. And, of course, the fold-out. Fold-out talks about Bloomburrow Bard of the Brambles and how to play the deck. Bloomburrow awakens the might of elemental calamity. Play powerful artifact and enchantments, then animate them into indestructible creatures with Bloomburrow's ability to deal serious damage. This deck is full of ways to accelerate your mana to be able to cast those expensive artifacts and enchantments. Once all those pieces are in place, squash your opponents underfoot with the power of your awakened elementals, calamity beasts, and titanic creatures from across the multiverse. So, of course, there's Commander rules, and I go straight to recycle. Let's go ahead and zoom in and check out the deck. Bloomburrow. We are opening this. Like those little pull tabs, they're always difficult to start. No one's got time for that. First thing is a popular formats and on your turn card, which is kind of standard, and go into the deck itself. So first card is Bloomburrow Bard of the Brambles. For a green, a red, and 1 generic for a 3/3 legendary creature raccoon bard. During your turn, each non-equipment artifact and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 elemental creature. In addition to its other types, has indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. Nice. That's an interesting little commander there. Next one is Wildseer Scoring Maw for a red, a green, 3 generic for a 6/6 trample. It's an elemental wolf. Enchantment spells you cast from your hand have Cascade. So nice way to get some extra cards in there. And of course a Planeswalker, Domri, Anarch of Bolas for a green, a red, and 1 generic for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker, Domri. Creatures you control get +1/+0 for a +1 loyalty. You add 1 green or red. Creature spells you cast this turn can't be countered. -2. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Nice little foil borderless version of Domri. Next one is Atali. This is a nice little reprint. Primal Storm. 2 red, 4 generic for a 6/6 legendary creature Elder Dinosaur. And when this card attacks, exile top card of each player's library, then you may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana cost. This is a fantastic reprint, though I don't think it has much value. The price will be right here. Next one is a new card, Prosperous Bandit for a red and 2 generic for a 2/2 creature raccoon with offspring 1. You may pay additional 1 generic mana as you cast a spell. If you do, when this creature enters, you create a 1/1 token copy of it. It has first strike, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many tapped treasure tokens. Probably a good addition to a treasure. Pyre Swipe Hawk for 2 red, 3 generic for a 4/4 creature elemental bird. Flying, haste, and when it attacks, it gets +X +0 till end of turn, where X is the greatest amount of value among artifacts you control. Whenever you expend 6, gain control of up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control this card. And you expend 6 as you spend your 6 mana to cast spells during a turn. Alchemist talent for a green, or for a red and 3 generic for a enchantment class. Level 1 is whenever it enters, create 2 tapped treasure tokens. Level 2 is 1 red and 1 generic. Treasures you control have tap sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color. Level 3 is a red and 4 generic. Whenever you cast a spell, if mana was use a treasure to cast that spell, this class deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to each opponent. Great addition to a treasure deck. This is a reprint, Berserker's Onslaught. 2 red, 3 generic for enchantment. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. Outpost Siege. I'm actually going to skip this card because it is a cheap one, and I'm just going to try to target stuff that is new or impressive, like Reign of Riches. This is a great reprint. 2 red, 3 generic for enchantment. When it enters, you get to create 2 treasure tokens. This first spell you cast each turn from treasure. If treasure was spent to cast it, the spell has Cascade. Chaos Warp, nice little reprint. Sunbird's Invocation. This is a nice little reprint. For a red and 5 generic enchantment, whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal top X cards from your library. Your X is that spell's mana value. You may cast a spell with mana value of X or less from among those cards revealed this way without paying the mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Nice value engine there, especially if you could turn into a 4/4 creature that has indestructible. Next card, Starstorm. 2 red, X for instant, and X. Starstorm deals X damage to each creature. Has cycling of 3. Gratuitous Violence. This is an interesting card. 3 red, 2 generic for an enchantment. If a creature you control would deal damage to a permanent or a player, it deals double that damage to a permanent or player instead. Nice. I like that card. Warm Storm Surge for a red and 5 generic. Enchantment, whenever a creature you control enters, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Lotus Cobra, nice little reprint. Green 1 generic for a 2/1 creature snake, and has landfall whenever a land you control enters, add 1 mana of any color. Evercoat Urson for a green 4 generic for a 6/5 creature elemental bear. Has trample, hideaway 3, hideaway 3. Hideaway is when this creature enters, look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1 of them face down, put the rest of them bottom in a random order, then you can do it again. And when it deals combat damage to a player, if there are cards exiled with it, you may play one of them without paying its mana cost. If you can give it haste somehow, the card is pretty cool. Next one is Bright Cat Badger. 1 green, 3 generic for a 3/4 creature Badger Druid. This one has, each fungus and sapling you control has tap to produce green mana. At the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. And of course, it has an adventure, so Fungus Frolic for a green 2 generic. It's an instant adventure. Create 2 1/1 sapling creature tokens. So not a bad way to be able to do your turn 2 and then turn 3. Trail Tracker Scout. A green 1 generic for a 1/3 creature raccoon scout that taps produce 1 mana of any color. And whenever you expend 8, return up to 1 target creature or permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Nice little mana dork there to be able to bring things back. Next one is Thickest in the Thicket. 2 green, 3 generic for an enchantment. When it enters, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature where X is that creature's power. At the beginning of your end step, draw 2 cards. If you control the creature with the greatest power or tied for the greatest power. Nice. Not worth a ton. But Galta, Primal Hunger, is pretty cool. 2 green, 10 generic for a 12 creature, legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. Has trample. Nice big creature. Eskaz. Chariots for a green and 3 generic for a 4/4 legendary artifact vehicle. Cost 4 to crew. It's not that bad, but whenever it enters, you create 2/2/2 green cat creature tokens. And as it attacks, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. Unnatural Growth. There's a nice little reprint. I know it was printed recently, but this card's kind of cool. 4 green, 1 generic for an enchantment. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Nice. Greater Good. 2 green, 2 generic for an enchantment. Sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, and then discard 3 cards. Kadama of the East Tree. Nice little reprint here. 2 green, 4 generic for a 6/6 legendary creature spirit with reach. Whenever another permanent you control enters, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser amount of value from your hand onto the battlefield, and it has partner. I love me some partner. Grothma All Devouring. 2 green, 3 generic for a 10/8 legendary creature worm. Other creatures you have, whenever a creature attacks, you may have it fight this creature. When this card leaves the battlefield, each player draws cards equal to the amount of damage dealt to this card by sources that they control. So if you have ways of doing damage to this and it kills it, you might be able to have a good payoff to be able to draw some extra cards. Rampaging Baloths. 2 green, 4 generic for 6/6 creature beast. Trample. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Nice little token generator for just playing lands. Bootlegger Stash. Man, when this card first came out, everyone thought this was going to be the next hot thing. And for a green and 5 generic for an artifact, lands you control have tapped create a treasure token. So it's a good way of creating some treasures. At the same time, it never really took off. I wonder why. Because that 6 casting cost? I think so. Primeval Bounty. 1 green, 5 generic for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put 3+1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Has landfall. Whenever a land control enters, you gain 3 life. Expensive little guy. Gilded Lotus for 5 generic mana. It's an artifact. Taps to reduce 3 mana of any one color. Spine of Ish-Sha for 7 generic mana. When it enters, destroy target permanent. When this card is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Spine of Isha to its owner's hand. Temple of Abandon. Man, I love these temple cards. They enter into play tap, but when it enters, you get to scry 1, and then tap to produce a green or red. Carpulsan Forest. These are originally printed in Ice Age. It's a land. Taps to produce colorless, or you could tap, produces red or green, and it deals 1 damage to you. Exotic Orchard, great reprint. Man, these feel like they've been printed into the ground way back in the way back machine. These were $10, $15 way back when. Now, not so much. It's a land. Taps to produce 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Sheltered Thicket. Game Trail. Raging Ravine. Copperline Gorge. Mossfire Valley. Cinderglade. Rubound Crag. Mosswort Bridge. This is a fantastic land from the Lorwyn series. It's a land that has Hideaway 4, so when it enters, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your library. Exile 1 face down, the rest of them bottom in a random order. Mosswort Bridge enters tapped, taps to reduce green, and for a green and tapped, you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost if creatures you control have total power of 10 or greater. Blasphemous Act, man, this is a always needed reprint. Yeah, they're not worth much these days, but for red and 8 mana sorcery, this spell costs 1 generic less for each creature on the battlefield, and this card deals 13 damage to each creature. Llanowar Loam Speaker. Tendershoot Dryad. This is a fun little reprint for a green and 4 generic for a 2/2 creature Dryad. Has Ascend, so if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. At the beginning of each upkeep, not just yours, create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. Saplings you control get +2/+2 as long as you have the City's Blessing. Goreclaw, Terror of Qualsisma. For a green and 3 generic for a 4/3 legendary creature bear. Creature spells you control with power 4 or greater cost 2 generic less. When this card attacks, each creature you control with power 4 or greater gets +1/+1 and trample till end of turn. And it's each creature including itself. So it becomes a 5/4 trample. Now, next card is Path of Discovery. For a green and 3 generic for an enchantment, whenever a creature you control enters, it explores. Exploring is reveal the top card of your library. Put that card in your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on the creature, then put the card back or put it into your graveyard. Decimate. Interesting card. Green, red, and 2 generic for a sorcery. Destroy target artifact, target creature, target enchantment, and target land. You can't cast a spell unless you have legal target choices for all targets. Nice. So just remember, if your enchantments have indestructible or enchantments or artifacts, you can target your stuff and it won't destroy it because it has indestructible. So just something to think about. Next one is Rolling Hamsphere for 7 generic mana for a 4/4 artifact vehicle. This card gets +1/+1 for each hamster you control. Whenever this card attacks, create 3 1/1 red hamster creature tokens. Then it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of hamsters you control. It has crew 3. So if you're able to crew it, you're able to start generating some hamsters pretty fast. Next one is Teapot Slinger, but we're not going to talk about it because it is uncommon. Explore. Farseek, great reprint. Oh, no, artwork's kind of cool. Cultivate. Grumgully, the Generous. Wondertail Mentor. Thought Vessel. Arcane Signet. Wooded Ridgeline. Big Score. Abrade. Rampant Growth. Sakura Tribe Elder. Yes, good reprint for a common. You know, Steve is always welcome for a green and 1 generic. It's a 1/1 creature, Snake Shaman. Sacrifice this card. Search your library for a basic land card and put it on the battlefield. Tapped, then shuffle. Beast Within. Garruk Pack Leader. Harmonize. Garruk's Uprising. That's a good card. Gruul Signet. Burnished Heart. Heron Archive. Felwar Stone. Thron Dynamo. Soul Ring. Mind Stone. Lots of artifact mana. That's always welcome. Talisman of Impulse. Terramorphic Expanse with fun art. Path of Ancestry. Gruul Turf. Evolving Wilds. Forgotten Cave. Tranquil Thicket. Command Tower. Reliquary Tower. The rest are going to be basics, I'm guessing. Some mountains. And then some forests. Treasure Beast token. Treasure Prosperous Bandit token. Treasure Sapling token. Treasure Sapling. Treasure Sapling. Hamster Sapling. Cat Beast. Cat Beast. Hamster Beast. And Hamster City's Blessing. There are the tokens. Let's go ahead and check out the sample pack. Sample pack is supposed to have 2 cards and an advertisement. There's the advertisement. Ooh, that's a nice little borderless card. Fabled Passage land. It tap sacrifice Fabled Passage, search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle. Then, if you control 4 or more lands, untap that land. And the second card is Spellgyre. There we go. Hope you enjoyed this opening. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section down below. I take the time to read every one of them and reply where needed. Hope you have a fantastic day. Remember to keep it rolling. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.